In today's video I'm going to take you on a tour of the kitchen garden in mid-October 2020. Welcome to Growing Frugal, and if we've not met before, I'm Susan, and on this channel we're all about learning how to live a lower cost life by growing food, by cooking creatively and sustainably, and just finding simple ways of saving a little money along the way. And today I've got for you my mid-October garden tour. The weather's changed, so it's all about the kind of autumn and winter season now with the raised beds. So I've got the covers open and off so you can have a good look at everything that's going on. So let's do it. Let's go on a tour and I'll show you what I've got growing so far. So here we are in the first raised bed, and this is the bed that had the white squash and the winter squash and the cucumbers. So that's all cleared now, and I've got netting on here for winter, which helps with the wind and the rain here. And it's looking really empty at the moment. It's had its annual feed with compost. It's got a good layer of compost for no-dig methods there. And what I have growing at the moment is this lovely sprouting broccoli, which I'm hoping will come into season in the spring and we'll have lots of greens. Now it's been very chewed, and this morning I discovered why, which is that somehow I must have missed some eggs, and this was absolutely covered in caterpillars this morning. I think I've dealt with it now, so hopefully this plant is strong enough to survive. Still got plenty of leaf on here, and hopefully that'll come into fruition in the spring. So my plans for this bed are I'm going to be putting some broad beans in, some early broad beans, see how they go. I've never put broad beans in early through the winter, but I gather it can be really successful, so no harm to get those in. And I'm also going to be planting out some garlic in this bed, so we'll be getting all of that done in the next couple of weeks. And that's it for this bed. And then here's the second bed with my very exciting new cover on, which unfortunately we've had a problem in that what's happened is that this part of the frame here bowed so badly that it actually cracked. So we've had to take the lid off, take off the capping and redo this bed. We haven't yet got the gas struts on, so we're back to the wood propping method for now. And we're really not quite sure why the wood bowed so badly. We put in a centre strut to hold it, but the bowing was absolutely terrible. So we're still kind of puzzling over how to fix it before we get the struts back on. But let's get on to more exciting stuff and show you the planting. So firstly, what you can see is the red Russian kale. Isn't this beautiful? It's absolutely thriving here in the covered bed. In fact, I've got more than I need, so I'm going to take some off and make some lovely green powder. And if you've not seen me make my own super greens powder before, I've got a video on that, so go have a look. It's great if you've got excesses. And I've also got in here some herbs, so some chervil and parsley and a couple of Florence fennel. So I'm a little late with the Florence fennel, so we'll see if it manages to come up. And then we've got some winter rocket, more herbs, and then a lot of lettuce. So we've got some red Grenoble, winter marvel, and I think some winter density as well, which may not survive as well despite its name, but hopefully some of these will grow and I should be able to be picking off them through winter. And then over here, this rare pink passion chard that I grow from seed is beautiful already, and I've had loads of harvests from it. Now last year the pink passion chard took much longer to get going. Now this year it's the golden chard that's taking a little bit longer to get going, but they're both brilliant. Sorry about the strat. And then along the end here we've got some more kind of winter greens. We've got some rocket. Looks like I might have flea beetle or something on there. We'll see how that goes. And we've got some mustard greens, and this bed is looking really great. So hopefully we'll have lots of crops in here through winter and the lid doesn't fly off after our bowing incident. And then in bed number 3, you can see we've got some more chard going. And again, the golden chard is much smaller than the pink passion chard. just complete opposites last year. I don't know what's going on, but they're both growing and I'm confident both of them should be okay. Although here, these are in an uncovered bed, so we'll have to see how these fare. I'm not that optimistic, but it's really good to trial things even when you're not sure if they'll work. So I've got these in, I've grown them from seed, so it's not a big investment. I haven't got much else to go in the beds at this time of year, so I'm trialling these Chard to see how they go, and I'll be able to see them directly against the ones I've got under cover, so that will be interesting. And then we've got another experiment. We've got the red Russian kale here growing really well, so this one will be very interesting, so I know whether I need to grow this under cover in future or whether I can get away with it in an open bed with some mesh on. It will be fine in a sheltered garden, I think, but with my garden being so exposed, I just have to experiment with everything. And then also in this bed I've got my broccoli plants, which I'm really pleased with. So these are both sprouting broccolis. There's two of them there. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm using plant rings to try and give them some support through winter. It always seems fine at the moment, but then the winds come and they just smash over despite the netting. So the netting helps quite a bit with the wind, but it's not perfect. So both of these quite hefty sprouting broccoli plants that will sit through all winter have got a little bit more support this year, and hopefully that will help. But if it doesn't, hey ho. And then I've got another of the little red Russian kale that I'm growing this year. So usually I grow Cavallo Nero, so this is a new thing for me to be growing, and I haven't eaten much of it yet, to be honest, so I need to start getting cooking with that, and I might look into that for next week's recipe video. And then right on the end here, a little bit late, are some Spigariello. So that's this brassica I grew last year and served me really well through winter, so I may not have be in time this year to get a crop, but we shall see. We'll see if they're still here or if they get eaten, because they are tiny. But let's get the net back over and see what happens when we do our November garden tour. So that's it for the 3 winter beds. We've got the 2 covered with mesh that will go through winter with outdoor plants in them, and then hopefully this bed here with the leafy greens should be harvestable through winter. That's if the hoop doesn't come off, of course. So keep watching and we'll see how this experiment goes. And then finally, let's go through to the final bed. So this was the first HoopHouse cover for a raised bed that I made, which is much lighter weight than the other one, but it worked perfectly well last year. And I've just this morning planted this up with lettuce. So we've got some red Grenoble here. We've got some winter density again, and we've got some winter marvel. And this happened last year. The winter marvel doesn't look very robust, but once it got going, it was really good. And then on the end, we've got some wild rocket, or is it salad rocket? The one that grows through winter anyway. So we should have plenty of greens between all of those. And then I'm left with some spare plants that I've raised here in the coal frame, and I'll be sharing those with neighbours and friends through our growers and givers group locally. So they will go. Plenty of chard and quite a few lettuce and rocket plants to give away, which is wonderful. So that's it for our October garden tour. Do subscribe if you want to see what happens to these plants as the coastal winds hit, and I'll be waiting for a non-rainy, non-stormy day in November to bring you my next kitchen garden tour and see what's still going when we get into the deeper part of winter. So keep safe, and I'll see you next time.